Fuck! I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm keeping that in. Welcome, winners, to another episode of One Nothing Podcast. Got David here. David's pretty.
What's going on, guys?
Pretty feisty today. We got.
This is Sean. Sorry.
And Sean's here too. Apparently, anybody else here? Just them two?
No.
Okay. Well, we got a whole crowd today, but most importantly, with us we have Celine and Matthew. They are hosts of Peculiar Pairings.
Hello. Who the hell is Sean?
David's alter ego. He's got multiple personalities. We don't acknowledge him. The doctor said to just keep it moving and not really pay any attention. So.
Well, that's
got it. So ignore the problem.
Ignore the problem.
No.
The American way.
He's only somewhat dangerous, so just it's fine.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
A little danger never hurt anybody.
Yeah. Now that he knows the layout of your apartments, though, I mean, he's not going to do anything with that information, but it's good to know. It's good.
We didn't tell him exactly where we live, just rough. So really, it's more like a challenge. Hey, now you kind of know. You have to do some sleuthing if you want to come murder us.
I really don't, because if you think about the fact that I'm connected to both of your cameras at this very second, it's only a matter of time before I zero in and triangulate your actual whereabouts. And I can actually see outside your window, sir, right behind you.
No, you can't. I can't.
The
shades drawn. I was going to say,
I can't. There's a crack.
There's one little crack.
I can see a little
at the bottom.
Yeah, you'll be doing that nonsense thing of zooming in and enhancing, and then can I see one little digitized thing? Yeah,
Enhance.
Yeah, David actually brought everything that you see in the backdrop, and he's outside your window. He put up a whole background. He set up a whole studio. He's currently watching you live through that little crack.
Look, I won't put up a fight as long as I can play with the Enterprise for just give me 5 minutes and then stabby time.
Dude,
that's fine with
for
me.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, God, stabby time. Wow.
Yeah. Well, no, not that kind of stuff.
We talked about this.
Oh my God.
108
stabs.
Yes.
Oh wow, David.
I'm tired.
The aggressive stabbing.
I'm tired already.
I got a lot of girth. It's gonna take a while. So I'm still playing with the Enterprise, and I'm you're not to my vital organs yet.
If you play with that, I'm not stabbing you, man. You're family.
Well, and then I'll hold on to it, and you'll be because you can't stab me because you can't get blood on the Enterprise.
Oh, was that what that action was? Was stabbing? Oh, okay.
That's
really important.
Okay. It's up here. It's not down here.
What else is this? Also, what?
Can you imagine the accuracy I would have to have
to be able to?
The only way that anatomically that motion makes sense is if you're switching hands rapidly.
That's what I'm saying. You have to be accurate because if you miss, it's going to be I
was going to say nobody's going to have fun. Yeah, nobody's enjoying themselves.
Indian rug burn.
I'm sorry, Celine. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, that's a bad ending for Love Fest. That's for sure.
And it sounds like something I don't want to participate in.
I don't want to participate in it either.
You don't.
No,
you really
not
don't.
actually
We're talking about a crime right now. Except the one positive thing is I get to play with the Enterprise.
True.
Which is not a euphemism.
It lights up.
Ooh.
That is a euphemism.
Yeah. And it makes noises. It's really cool. I love it.
Why didn't we do that before this? Now we're in the show. We can't take time away from the show to do that.
It's also Bluetooth speaker, so I can talk to you through it. I'm so serious right now.
That's incredible.
I know.
David's having fun geeking out over his Enterprise thing in the background.
Yeah, I do also love
Enterprise shit.
We went into a certain euphemistic joking about the motions you were making, but it is literally the Enterprise D.
Yes, thank you, sir.
So,
yes,
D stands
absolutely
for...
correct.
D stands for exactly what you think it stands for. Yeah, and it's the biggest one of those.
Of course, it's the biggest one. Come on.
Class ships. So.
That's why it needs 2 hands. It's a lot to conquer.
It is the flagship.
Yeah, even in the
going where no man has been
universe of Star Trek, it's still rich white dudes who are controlling everything, and they're not going to make the ships smaller.
Well, I don't know. The Titan guys had a theory that differed from that a little bit. But they weren't beating each other off down there, hopefully.
No.
Whoa, you can't just say beating off. This is all supposed to be euphemisms.
Oh, okay.
Love dust is as close as we're supposed to get.
They weren't flogging the dolphin.
That sounds so much worse.
Yeah, the Chiefs did that.
Way worse.
They weren't eliminating the cockroach infestation.
Jesus, that's what?
I was gonna say,
No,
That
I
sounds
wanted mine to be
unhygienic.
weird.
it does. It's terrible.
They weren't weighing the produce.
Weighing the produce. I like.
I have not heard that one.
It's not.
Yeah,
I'm
the
just
banana?
making things up, waiting for
I don't think it is
reactions.
one.
It's not. She's like,
Eviscerating
guys
the
are
rhino.
These guys are really shoveling the coal, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah, falling down the staircase. Yeah, I know.
They're
Oh
really,
no, that's just Matt at his
Okay.
house.
They're really opening the garage door, if you know what I mean.
Assaulting the
Oh.
unicorn.
Assaulting our listeners right now.
I was going to say,
Sorry.
is this the show? Are we doing the show?
Yeah,
I'm so
welcome to
sorry.
this 90 minutes of sexual innuendo.
It's just sometimes getting a little too close to the line, sometimes completely missing the mark. But either way, we're having a fun time.
We don't want to miss the mark.
At least we're having fun.
Don't miss the mark.
My name is Matt. That was funny. Fuck you guys.
Well, if you guys couldn't tell listening, these two are hysterical. We've just had a few minutes chatting before we started recording.
Oh man.
And we've already been all over the map with like the stupid, silly things. We vibe really, really good. So I'm really enjoying already. We're like 5 minutes in. I'm having a good time. So let's shut it down now that we've said hello. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Shut it
No.
down.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye. That was about as good as we could have hoped for. So
Anything more, just, make it, ruin it.
It's downhill from here.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I wanted you to, if you could, to tell us a little bit about where you got the inspiration behind Peculiar Pairings. Like, where did the name originate? Where did the inspiration for the podcast come from?
Cool. Well, it kind of.
That's
just
enough. Thank
came-
you. Sorry, you ran out of
Oh.
time.
Wow.
Darn. I
Oh
took
man.
too long. I
God.
shouldn't have hesitated.
She did say the format was an interruptive kind of thing, but I didn't think it was
Yeah,
going to
she
be like
did.
combative and aggressive. Jesus.
So the podcast was my idea.
Ooh.
I was telling Matt how I wanted to get into podcasting, and I was like, well, I love crime and ghost stories and weird history stuff.
Yes, queen.
I'm like, but I don't think I could do this by myself, or at least not right now. And then the more we talked about it, he's like, well, I have time. And I was like, fuck it, let's do it. And that's how it happened.
And if I may, like I believe it was during COVID, and
It was.
you were hanging out with your mom. Like the specific night that it occurred, we were like sending messages and images of like what we were snacking on in the evening. And I think you said you and your mom were like talking about true crime stuff. And I was in my living room like, oh, I'm watching
It
a
was
thing.
probably me and my roommate, actually.
that might
'cause
also
we
be
talked
it.
about that all the time.
Okay.
Jeez.
That might have been
Not like it's weird,
But it just kind of happened that we like started talking about like, hey, what are you drinking? Or like, hey, what are you snacking on? And then like just by coincidence, you guys were talking about true crime, and I was watching, I think, The Jinx on HBO. I was watching some kind
Ooh.
of true crime thing.
I love that one.
Oh, it was good.
So good.
Yeah. And it was that same, I've done this like 1,000 times where it's like, oh, this should totally be a podcast. Like, this is a great idea. And I've actually tried to start a few different podcasts in the past. And me and most of my friends are just so like scatterbrained and like ADHD people that we never do it. And so this particular night, we're texting back and forth, and she's like, oh, this would be a great idea for a podcast. And I'm like, yeah, this would be great. We get some snacks together and we talk about true crime and just random stuff. And it's like, oh, that'd be great. And then I go to bed and I wake up more or less forgetting the whole thing to a text either that day or the day after where Celine's like, so when do you want to record? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, because
Like the
we like
show.
set up an agreement to record.
Which most
And we're
of
like, yeah,
I
we're
don't-
going to do it. We're going to do it.
And she's like, oh, I set up the email. I set up an Instagram thing. I set up a Patreon
Yeah.
account. And I'm like,
No, you-
I dove into it.
yeah. And so like, thank you, Celine, because if it wasn't for you, that like this would not be happening at all.
Well, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
And Matt came up with the name for the podcast because I was like, I don't know what to call it. I can get everything going. Naming, not my thing.
Luckily, I'm a great ideas guy. I'm a
You
horrible
are.
like pull the trigger person, but I can think up stuff pretty good. And I went with the old boy, this is embarrassing. Marvel Comics. Marvel Stan Lee's general idea for like naming characters is you use alliteration. So like Peter Parker, because people tend to remember it better. And so I just knew that I wanted to like throw that in there because it tends to be a little more ringy. And
I
stick in
was
people's minds.
wondering about that because I noticed in like the description of your show, you are very like alliteration-y. And I really, really like
that was Celine. So I think she took the idea of
That
the title.
was you.
I
You
wrote
wrote
that?
all of that, and I copied and pasted it in.
How much was I drinking?
Enough.
Well, that is kind of the theme of the show, so it works.
It does work,
Yeah.
and it was really cute. And you guys you're closing in on 60 episodes now, almost.
Yeah, we've been doing it
Yeah.
for a while. Yeah.
So, what keeps you doing it? I mean, is it just the fun of the show, or your listeners, or the topics you cover?
I would say just kind of the fun of doing it. Like,
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun getting all the ideas and being like, oh, I want to tell you about this really cool thing, and it's kind of fucked up. And Matt's just like, no fucking way. And I'm like, I know. So that's the thing I enjoy about it.
Very cool. I love to hear that. Yeah, I was thinking Matthew was probably in it like for the ladies or the fame and the fortune, but it's good to know you have a decent
yeah.
heart under the staircase.
Yes,
Yeah.
clearly the ladies knocking down my door is the.
You have a staircase to
main
impede
reason.
them, so like ladies wear heels.
That's,
it's an obstruction.
that's my ladies' basement. That's where all of the ladies that just can't help themselves. I have to keep them somewhere. You know, they can't just have them up here all the time.
running
That'd be
loose like
insane.
feral.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you say is your favorite show out of the
Like-
60?
Like particular episode.
Yes.
Yes.
I think I'm a little biased, but my favorite is easily the one we did this last fall. Not quite Thanksgiving, on the Black Eyed Kids.
Oh, okay. Black Eyed Kids. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got together because she lives in Colorado and I live in Wisconsin. And so it just
Mhm.
happened to be a time when we're both in Minnesota. And so it was her fiance and my sister. We all got together and it was a different format. Usually Celine like reads the story and we kind of joke about it. But this one, she gathered several short stories and we stayed in my
We each
dad.
read
Well, we
one.
didn't stay in there. Yeah, we went around a circle and just read the stories and just had a lot of fun. And that was my favorite. I don't know if it was necessarily the easiest to listen to.
Right. More good answers. So, Matthew, I know for sure that you knew that this one was coming on you, but wow, I phrased that in a bizarre way.
More love dust.
Oh, no.
I'm sure you were expecting this.
For anyone who can't see, she's standing there with a trench coat and she's about to unfurl it.
I'll be showing some sundials.
I bet you weren't
Whoa.
expecting this.
So we're going to play red flag, green flag. And I'm sure everyone knows what
I
that
was.
is, but just to give you a touch up, red flag, green flag is, wow, I'm using a lot of euphemisms tonight. I realize I can't stop myself. That's what she said.
Well, once you start, everything that you think becomes a euphemism,
does.
whether it is or isn't.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So a red flag is anything that, a stranger who doesn't know you on a personal level would hear about you and be like, A green flag is something positive that someone would say is like a very good attribute or something that they would say is like a nice thing about yourselves. So do you have a red flag and a green flag about yourselves that you'd care to share of any importance? It doesn't have to be like your deepest, darkest secret, although we welcome that.
Oh, yes. Please.
I have been listening to episodes, and so I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and I definitely have a red flag, but I couldn't quite nail down a green flag.
Really?
I do feel like it's always easy to like criticize oneself, but it's hard to like give yourself
Praise.
credit for things. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you happen to have them ready, Celine?
Not yet. I'm plotting
Okay.
and thinking.
Okay. Well, then I'll just launch it. My red flag for sure is my temper. I am quick to anger, especially over little. I'm the person who won't cry, but I will rage over spilled milk. And it's also the idea that like I never get angry at unless I'm on the road, I definitely get angry at other people. But I never take my anger out on others. I take it out on myself. And so I will get really frustrated about that spilled milk, and I will get very loud, and I'll angrily grab the not toilet paper towels, and I'll like start cleaning it up. Yeah, it's
Different kind of accident.
interestingly enough.
Why are you eating cereal in the bathroom? I don't understand.
Hey, you grab whatever you got. You know what I mean? Whatever's available.
Whatever's there.
Sometimes it's a sock. Yeah, sometimes it's a cat. Whatever's absorbed.
He's like, yeah.
Fur. Yeah, fur will pick up milk. It's all right. Yeah. But I have been trying to work on that, and the one thing that I do like is, oddly enough, I get really frustrated and angry about little things. If I drop a pen, I drop my phone, I get really frustrated. But then, like, when I hit a deer and my car gets destroyed, it just kind of rolls off my back. I don't know, like, the big things never seem to bother me, and the little things just irritate me endlessly. And I heard a good quote a while back that depression is nothing more than anger turned inwards. And so I've done a little bit of therapy to try to just be better. And well, actually, maybe that's my green flag. I try to recognize my faults as best as I can and work on them.
Yeah. Also, you're very strong. That's another green flag, because you let a car roll off your back. I don't know how many people could say that.
I'll tell you one thing, it didn't roll off that deer's back.
No.
Yikes.
What's it not?
Crowd. It's well, we could talk about human murder. We can't talk about deer murder.
No, animals are different. Come on.
I was surprised. Like, I started texting a bunch of people that night, and I'm still kind of jittery, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope my car's okay. And I texted a bunch of people about, like, I hit the deer, and like 90% of people were like, how's the deer? Yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to tell you this. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care how the deer is.
Wait,
fucking fucked up my car.
Did I ask you about the deer? Or was I not?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'm like, did I?
I 100% would be that person.
Oh, that's too bad.
When I posted pictures on Facebook, a number of people commented it there. And then a few of my friends, like my college, I have like a Discord group. A couple of them asked that. And I'm like, I don't care about the deer. I assume it's dead. I didn't look.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have
still alive.
Been me.
Matthew, it's still in the same spot, suffering.
Waiting. I'd be the type of person to ask your doctor as they're operating on you, like, what happened to the deer?
What happened?
I did, but by the time I got like a few of those responses, when I would like text anyone, like if they would ask what happened to my car after they saw the pictures, I would just say, I ran into a dear friend the other night, spelled DEER. And
I thought that was funny.
Most people,
I had a good laugh.
Yeah, most people didn't care for it. And I'm like,
trauma bonded.
It's a deer. Yeah. Fucking deer.
I got to say, Matt, your red flag was my red flag.
Oh, okay.
That's something exactly the little things. Yeah. And over time, I guess clearly I'm older than you. It took me, even to this day, if I drop something or something like this happens, something small, I'm able to now not to let it rage. I just take a second. It's okay. Pick it up. Go about my day. Yeah. That's what I've been working on. It takes a lot to get me angry now. It takes a lot.
Absolutely. Well, and it takes what I'm focusing on the most is like some days I've found that I have like good days and bad days. Most days are bad because I'm still working on it. But I try to acknowledge and reward myself for those days when like things happen. And yes. I'm like, it's a beautiful sunny day. I'm out delivering mail. I'm not stuck in an office. I'm going around, and I'm like, I try to appreciate the days that I don't let things get to me, and I'm trying to make them more and more than the other days. But sometimes things still just really irritate me, and I can't help it.
It's irritating, but if you let it, it can ruin your whole day. And a few things dropped here and there, or something goes wrong, does not have to ruin your entire day. Trust me on that.
Right. And I've actually gotten. That's the most strides I've made so far is that like I definitely had times where one little thing and my whole demeanor it's just ruined. And so I do still get frustrated, but I'm much better now already about just not letting it like ruin the whole day. And oddly enough, I'll have days where like multiple little things occur and I start getting frustrated. And by the time I get to like the fourth or fifth one, I just start laughing at it because I'm like, this is one of those dumb days.
Yep.
Shit's just happening today.
All you gotta do.
So I'm trying to get better about it.
Yeah. Okay, I have thought of mine. I would say that my green flag is that as a person, and I've heard this from other people because I'm like, I don't know if I quite believe it, is that a lot of my friends say that I am a very like caring and compassionate person. So I'm like, okay, like
Yeah.
I care.
I would say so.
And I guess that's good.
Aw.
I like how you talk about it like it's a burden. You're like, okay,
Well, because
I guess
I
I'll
don't
do that.
see it as much as they do. So I'm like, okay, like, are you sure?
That's a really good quality.
My red flag is definitely that I am too forgiving and that I will definitely put up with more shit than I ever should.
That's interesting. That's an
So-
interesting. I don't think we've had that as a red
No,
flag.
I don't think so.
Well, and
Wow.
coincidentally, yours and mine are kind of the same thing, where like part of it is a green flag, but the other part of it's the red flag, where like your green flag is that you're really nice, but in that niceness, your red flag is that you are
Wow.
too
Take it
forgiving.
too far. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all a double-edged sword.
It
Very much
is.
So.
Because I've seen it more like with relationships where I'm like, oh, that was a shitty thing to do, but like, you're human, it's fine. And I'm like, that was not fine in retrospect. That was not, no.
I was going to say, do you have a particular example of a time that you thought you shouldn't have been so forgiving? Not necessarily like a relationship, just where like you tend to think about it a lot and you're like, I shouldn't have let them get away with that.
Yeah, when I was working in like my first big graphic design job, like 6 weeks in, my boss yelled at me in front of the whole company for like an hour, and I should have just gotten up and walked out.
An hour?
To be fair, it
Damn.
was a small company, so there really only was 5 of us for the whole office, but I'm like, yeah, I should have just
But an
left.
hour?
I was going to say, see, that's the person that I'm trying not to be, is that guy
Yeah.
who yells at someone for an hour.
I did try to defend
Maybe.
myself, and he's like, don't interrupt me. And I was like,
Oh. Bro.
Damn.
okay. Yeah,
Was HR involved at all?
well, so our HR was like my manager for the office. So she was present, and then she's like, it's okay. It's happened to everybody in the office. And I was like, oh,
Oh.
that doesn't
That's
make
not
me
okay.
feel better.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, me too.
And I was like, I don't work there anymore. So,
Oh, okay, good.
That's at
Fuck
least a
that
good thing.
guy.
Can I ask why?
I mean, that's not the only reason, but that is one of the reasons.
Yeah, I would imagine. People don't quit jobs, they quit managers.
Yes,
Yeah,
Yep.
Ooh.
without a doubt.
absolutely.
Oh gosh, you guys are killing this whole questions thing. I'm just so impressed. My
stop.
goodness.
Awesome.
Stop.
Super
We do
awesome,
our
man.
Yeah, you guys
We
are
try.
killing it. So
We
we're going to jump to our question of the week from our last episode. So
Ooh.
in case you missed it, we did a episode on Chelino Sanchez, who was a kind of famous music singer that was shot. Obviously, being he was a musical artist, our question of the week for the episode was, what is your favorite band or singer or musical artist? And I would like you guys to go forward with your answers first, if you'd be so kind.
I would first like to say that I wasn't able to finish that episode yet. I was listening to it today, but I would like to thank you for properly pronouncing Oregon. Early in the story, you were talking about him moving from Mexico to Oregon, and to all the West Coast listeners, get over yourself. It's an O, okay? It's not an I. It's not an E. It's not an oddly pronounced A. It's not Oregon. It's Oregon.
I don't pronounce polygon.
Exactly. And this is how like insane I can get. I researched a little bit while I was at work, like on my break. I pulled out my phone and I'm like, there's gotta be at least one. And I'm like, I couldn't find another instance where an O sounds like an I. Like if you think of the vowels as a spectrum, O is on this side. It kind of goes through U and A and E, and then it goes to I. They're opposites. There's never a time where an O sounds like an I. And so I appreciate, no joke, when I heard that, I rewound the podcast like 3 times to make sure I heard it right. And I'm like, yes, it's Oregon. Yeah. And I'm like, I have some friends who are from the Midwest and they moved to Oregon. And we get together once a year just to have fun, be friends. And they always correct me whenever I say it. And so I do my best to pronounce it with the short O as hard as I can because it's an O.
I'm so glad that I could be there to provide that validation for your.
That's the best word. I feel validated. So thank you. I'm sorry. What was the question?
My question is, how do you prefer to pronounce Oregon?
Oh, perfect. Well, then
I nailed it.
Celine, how do you pronounce
It's not Oregon. Not Oregon, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Oregon.
Just checking. Got it.
No, the question was, what is your favorite musical artist, band, singer, cat that plays piano, whatever it may be?
Oh, I do like a cat.
Oh no, I regret putting that in there now because that's going to be my answer.
Oh, I feel like it's hard to pick just one.
Okay, let's say rather than favorite, what's the one that if you were being banished to an island for 3 months, like the one that you would have no problem listening to over and over without getting sick of? How about let's phrase it that way?
Okay.
For me, both of them, like favorite band, and I've actually thought about this too, unrelated to the podcast. Rolling Stones. I have found that Queen's a close second, but I grew up, oddly enough, one of the first like musical things I remember is listening to Rolling Stones in my dad's old work van on a cassette. And he had like three Beatles cassettes and then like 30 Rolling Stones cassettes.
Oh, wow.
And so I definitely listened to more Stones than Beatles, but we listened to some Beatles. I really am not a fan of the Beatles now, and I absolutely love the Rolling Stones. I don't hate them. I just
it's the Beatles.
It's indifferent.
Yeah,
The Beatles,
they're not
an
my cup of
insect.
tea.
It's not like the spiders.
It's an insect. Yeah, like a stone. It's hard, man. It's American.
Yeah.
They're like, no, they're a British band. And I'm like, shut up. No, they're not. They're American as hell.
But the British
It's
rocks.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Beatles.
I know.
It's not an insect. Come on. Sorry.
But
Wow, you're
yeah, I
like
could
8
listen to them
phrases
forever.
behind us, David.
It's a stupid name. Shut up.
A 20-second lag.
Oregon.
Yeah.
It's
Oregon.
Oregon. Damn it. Get it right.
Get it right.
Come
I
on.
like that we're actually going backwards in conversation.
Benjamin buttoning the fuck out of this episode,
Oh, yeah.
y'all.
Yay.
Cool. Yeah, you should do a podcast Memento style where you start at the end and then you cut it in reverse.
He cut her body into little pieces, and then he asked her for a date.
I'm an ideas guy.
That would be how it goes. They
So-
died horribly, but before that, they went on a date.
He complimented her.
So why was he yelling at you, Celine? I'm sorry.
What was he? You
Why?
have to wait until the end, which is when the beginning is revealed.
Oh.
I love it.
People are like, you know what? I'm going to turn off this episode. I'm just going to read the footnotes. The summary. I'm just, okay.
Okay. I would say for me, it would probably be Fall Out Boy because I've listened fairly obsessively to their new album when it came out. And I feel like they have a lot more music than people actually realize because they have more albums than even I knew until more recently.
Wow.
I dig their vibe.
Is that
Yeah, I like them.
they did the new? Did they do the new "We Didn't Start the Fire"?
Yes, they
Is that
did.
them? What do you think of that song?
I like that I could potentially listen to both of them back to back and it would just cover so many crazy things that have happened.
Yeah.
Would they redo it with different things?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's sick.
It's essentially the same kind of song with updated events.
Oh,
events and
cool.
stuff.
Interesting.
$10
Apparently,
said
it's-
COVID's in there.
Oh yeah.
Tiger
there's a lot
King's
of
in
stuff
there.
Fuck.
Lots of stuff about
The
Trump.
Queen dying.
Yeah.
TikTok, micro penis, everybody's going keto.
You're strikingly close. I don't know about the micro penis, but
I think it's
that's a different
implied.
issue. It's the micro penis is implied. Apparently, it has been getting a lot of negative. It's been getting a lot of hate online. Not the micro penis, the song.
Of course.
But
What implies
yeah, and I'm like,
that?
I listened to that song
course.
for 3 hours one morning when I first heard that it existed, and I was like, "This is fucking awesome."
That's how I felt
I gotta
about
hear it. I've never heard it.
Yeah, check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what you expect.
Yeah.
It sounds very similar to the original, but yeah, it's very good.
No, I definitely want to hear that. I didn't know that they redid it with different lyrics. That's exciting. That's cool. I remember doing that song for 10th grade history class or something.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
History class?
Yeah.
What, you didn't have history class?
What fucking thing? What, you science? What the fuck you want from me, dude?
Billy Joel, 10th grade history. Okay.
We did have a few people respond about this question as well. I just posted it because I'm a dummy and posted it late. So I'll probably go in and throw in some more answers. But to start us off, Lituation Cindy said, I'm a Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin fan for life, but I love many others. Hell yeah, I'm Pink Floyd, girl. I'm right with you there. Dark Side of the Moon is my
Cindy.
anthem.
That's a good one.
Dude, Led Zeppelin's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Frankie, she said Fleetwood Mac and soul music. Army Soldier
Yes,
Mom
thanks.
2004 said Ramstein or Ramstein, whoever you pronounce that.
Ramstein.
Ramstein?
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's fucking German or something. I don't know how to say
I don't know.
It's very German. It's incredibly German.
Yeah. Our friend Heather, Prissy Girl 03, said casket robbery 100%, but anyone that listens should already know that.
Hey, Heather.
And she has said that before on the show, so that makes sense.
That sounds like an offshoot of My Chemical Romance.
Casket robbery?
Oh,
Casket
I guess
robbery?
so.
it sounds like it, but no.
Kill them first
But
with
no.
the chemicals after you love them to death, and then you steal their casket? Yeah.
I mean, they have a song that's literally about burying someone, so I mean, or at least the music video is. Helena? No? Anyway.
I don't listen a whole lot. I mean, I know of casket robbery, and they're just not. I have so many bands I listen to. They're not in my rotation currently, but it's a good answer. Solid answer. I will accept it.
Amanda, is this the band that she had stay over at her house?
No, I don't think so.
No?
That's
Okay.
a pretty cool story,
But
though.
she didn't.
Yeah.
I know.
It
Fucking
is a
talk
cool
about the
story.
life. I forget what band she had do that.
She's freaking awesome.
And then 999 Beast said Corey Taylor and Slipknot.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Good answers. Very good. All right, I'm cutting in now so that everybody who commented after I had filmed the show can get their answers read on the air because I'm so nice. Aren't I nice? Anyway, we are starting off with two sisters and a TV who said the Beach Boys. Hot Garbage Show said Beyonce. Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy said Jane's fave is Papa Roach, but Declan could only narrow it down to 3. Mac Dre, Soundgarden, and Alien Ant Farm. Chrissy Marie said Citizen Soldier. Connections with Ashley said Authority Zero. The Almost Presidents podcast said Linkin Park. Bad News Bears said my favorite band changes all the time, but I think if I had to pick, I would say Dance Gavin Dance. Favorite singer hands down is Johnny Craig, but Rory Spencer is super close. Ghost Vexers Paranormal said Pearl Jam. JD City Hill said Michael Jackson. Witch with All the Gifts said Halcyon, We Are the Flesh, Breaking Benjamin. Books Cats Podcast said Oki's favorite is Jack Johnson, and Caddy's favorite is probably Cher or The Killers. Triple Beast said Corey Taylor, and ZSM Podcast said Elvis Costello. Thank you all for submitting answers. I really love how engaged you guys are getting with these. Please keep it up. I love it. Love it. Okay, back to the episode. Sorry. We have some questions to ask you guys now. I know, I feel like I'm like quizzing you. Like, we're going to grade you at the end of this. If you don't score at least 95%, you can't go home tonight.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's.
Ooh,
I love a good quiz.
they're already home.
Well, I know. I'm just saying it sounds very much like I'm quizzing them with these questions. But these are situational. So these have to do with our episodes. So I'll give you a little
okay.
hinty hint about what we're talking about today.
All
So
right.
question number 1. If you could have any animal in the world as a pet, what would you choose?
Bat.
I would choose an owl.
Specifically fruit bat.
Okay, but not like a Harry Potter pet where it becomes your live or die servant, but like as it is, it's
As
just
it
your pet
is,
now. You
I
would choose a bat.
feel like it'd just be cool to have an owl like at my house.
Owl would be cool.
I'm gonna
We got
stick. Yeah, I'm gonna
this
stick
COVID
with
fucking monster over here that wants a bat. Okay,
They're so cute. You watch them.
be
They got their
fair.
little claws and they eat.
they are really
Yeah, they
cute.
eat a mango.
I regularly see videos about a fruit bat that's like too old to actually fly, so they hold him and like
I
run
know.
around
And
with
let
him
him
as he
flap his little
pretends to fly,
wings.
and it is
Really
adorable.
cute. Yeah, I like watching
So
the
heartbreaking.
bat sanctuary videos where they nurse all the babies and
Oh,
stuff. It's
yeah.
very cute.
Yeah, fuck you for shaming me for
For your
wanting a bat.
bats.
They're the cutest of all bats.
The Climate
those big
Society,
eyes.
Matthew.
Well,
Oh,
okay, look, mine wouldn't be spreading diseases and stuff. You know, you'd,
Oh, okay. You have the
You'd
one
hang
He's
out
gonna
healthy
take
bat.
him to
Okay.
the vet
He'd literally-
regularly, update him on shots.
and I'll get him a little harness, and we can go to the park and
You
he can
can
fly
fly him
around.
on the harness.
David, do you have a pet that you would, an animal that you would have as a pet?
if it wouldn't kill me or eat me, I would like to have a dire wolf. But I mean, dogs. I love
Ooh.
dogs. I'm a huge.
So all
She
of the
said
no
animals
Harry-
out there,
she
you're
said
going to
no
go
Harry
with
Potter
a
stuff.
domesticated animal?
A wolf? A dire wolf is not a domesticated.
No,
it's
but
not
a
even-
regular dog is.
I was going to say a dire
I know.
wolf is technically like a mythical creature, though.
No, dire
No,
wolves
those
exist.
were real.
Well,
They exist.
All right, if you're going to be
They exist. I'm sorry.
They
They-
exist.
I thought you were talking like the type of like Game of Thrones that are like 6
No.
feet
Yeah.
tall. And
No, but ooh.
But yeah.
Okay, very good. For me, that's a tough one because, like, if I could domesticate it and have it be my best friend, I'd probably pick like a tiger or a mountain lion or something. But seeing as how I have to pick an animal that it's going to exist how it already exists, I'd probably say like a fennec fox or maybe a possum because they domesticate kind of easily
Cute.
and are really fucking cute. Or a coyote. I follow a guy on Instagram who has a little coyote named Weave that comes and goes on her own, and she's really fucking cute.
They are very similar to dogs.
They are. I love coyotes.
If you guys both gave answers of like assuming you could domesticate it and like have it just be safe. If I could have
Yes.
a domesticated version, I would want a polar bear.
Dude.
Okay.
I don't know where I
That's a
would
good
keep
one.
it, but just like ride around on them, just like hang out in the woods and stuff, and
Just kill people.
just have a
Just kill people.
Very,
light
you know,
murder.
I own Svalbard now. Fuck you, bitches.
I was gonna say, like, I would totally use it for evil. I would become a gangster and just like I would threaten people and be like,
Have a
No,
polar
you're not
bear with
paying
freaking lasers attached to its freaking head.
well, because like I would just come by myself, like
That's what she
Comes
said.
by himself.
don't get you with
Comes
that.
by himself.
You know, and then I got this big white thing following me that I'm just gonna throw on people.
You just
but
pick
Road
up the
rage-
bear and thrust him upon everyone else.
Yeah.
in this
Road
scenario,
rage
I'm
incidents
also
would be way
strong.
different.
Oh yeah,
Don't you think?
I'd be on the freeway on
Yeah.
a polar bear going 3 miles an hour. But like, I would show up with the rival gang, and it'd be like 20 dudes, and they all had guns, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's pretty fucking cute." And then I just whistle. This giant bear comes lumbering through with like armor plating and shit, and I'm like, "Yeah,
Mm.
you try to shoot him, you're just gonna piss him off. So should we talk
Yeah.
about how much you fucking owe me now?"
And then they defeat you by throwing a hot dog 20 paces.
Oh, they'll kill me. for sure.
The bear will live though, and that's the important part.
Well,
Yeah.
I would die by fighting the polar bear for the hot dog.
Okay. Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Mm.
Or you would
It
actually
does make
win,
sense.
but then eat the hot dog too quickly and choke on it.
Or, well,
All
no,
things are
because then I
possible.
would kill my own polar bear, and then I would just be at the mercy of the 20 dudes with guns.
That's true. That's true.
And then I'm
Unless the
sitting there
bear
like,
kills
"Oh,
them
yeah, it's
first.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe that, okay.
And
yeah.
then you're all alone with
So
your
the bear,
mystery
the
meal.
bear kills them. The hot dog, for some reason, y'all split it up, and then the nuclear bombs are coming down, and then it's all over.
Yeah,
And
me
that's just
me and the
the
polar bear are
end.
friends. Yeah,
still
Eating your
friends.
half
You're
hot
still
dog
friends.
with your polar bear.
yeah. I'm like, good
A
job,
Netflix
buddy.
presentation.
A Netflix original
Netflix
series.
original. Nuclear bear.
Matthew and the bear.
Oh,
He
God.
fights for the right to bear arms.
Haha.
Ooh.
Celine, if you could have an animal that you could fully domesticate, would you still pick an owl?
I think I would because I myself am fascinated by like birds of prey and I feel like they are very
Ooh.
badass. So I definitely
are.
stick with owl.
I love the flight tests that they do with owls. So they're like silent.
so
and you can't even
silent.
hear them
It's-
flying. They're really cool.
It's eerie and awesome and I
terrifying.
love it.
And they
I
attack
also
like
just-
eagles and shit. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. I also just recently learned that they have 3-dimensional hearing, which I thought we did, but I'm like, no, they're like, their ears are offset so they can hear up and down. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
nice.
fuck, now I want offset ears. It look goofy as shit, but you can
shit.
hear like in every direction. I'm like, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
That makes sense though because they're so precise with their aim. Like the videos of them snatching chicks out of nests is just
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incrable.
Yeah.
Like I said,
And we
they're
got stuck with
badass
the fucking
creatures.
ability to run 6 miles an hour. Thanks.
I know.
I have back pain after I fucking bend over for half an hour with these bitches.
Yeah.
Don't ask why we're bending over. Anyway.
Oh my.
I joke.
we just did a pod fight where we had a lot of podcasts, like punch each other over the video.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Did you see that?
I
At the
did.
very end, Amanda closes it off by getting hit and falling backwards over a chair, and she actually hurt her back.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that drag off screen was not scripted, let me tell you. That was real time.
Shit.
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck!" Drag off screen.
She suffers for her art. Let me just say that.
Hey, that's how you get followers, baby.
Oh gosh! All right, guys. My second episode related question for you: which animal do you think kills the most people every year, aside from mosquitoes? Because we all know mosquitoes take the number one. Outside of those, what's an animal that you think? I'll even say like top 3 animals that kill the most people every year.
Coincidentally, I feel like I should know this because I listened to a YouTube thing recently, and I'm trying to remember what they were talking about.
Oh yeah, influencers, they are the number one predator.
They are.
Yeah. Driving while YouTubing. That is a fantastic question.
Humans.
I'm going to go
The
with
most dangerous
monkeys and
beast.
primates.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good idea.
Very
Yeah,
good one.
This is a little unfair because mainly just because I can't think of a specific one, but I'm going to say big cats of some
That's a
type.
good one too. Yeah. David, let's
But-
pick one that's not a human just for the sake of the fun.
Okay. Mine was mosquitoes.
Say penguin. Say penguin. Say penguin.
You want it to be a penguin.
It's like the mallard duck.
Quack. And there's just like a nuclear explosion. Son of a bitch.
Cats.
Cats, like big cats,
household
house
cats.
cats.
Household
House
cats.
cats
Oh,
are the
Okay, that's a
most
good one.
deadliest
That
animal.
is potentially
That's a
possibly,
good
yeah.
one.
that.
Okay, very good questions. I'm not going to answer because I know, so it'd just be me lying at this point.
Oh,
Well,
I thought you
what
weren't
a
going to give us
buzzkill,
the
man.
answer.
Oh, I'm going to give you the
Yeah,
answer
come
throughout the
on.
episode. These are teasers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
How likely are you guys to take your spouse's concerns as valid if it's about something that you don't care about? So let's say, for example, like you're parked in front of the fire hydrant and your wife is like, oh my God, you keep parking. It's a danger when our house catches on fire and then nobody can come, blah, blah, blah. It's an insignificant concern to you, but your spouse is like very concerned about it. Are you just like the type to be like, yeah, whatever, shut the fuck up because you don't care? Or do you entertain her or like actually listen and sit down and discuss the pros and cons of parking? Or like, what would you do?
Actually, listen.
Oh, okay. Wow. Look at that.
That's
Take
fair.
notes, men.
I think sometimes I'm a little too like objective and like skeptical minded. So if I'm presented with that kind of argument, I'd be like, well, here's why I think this. It might come off as like sounding douchey, but I'm like, well, this is why I think this is a
why
good
you're
idea,
wrong.
you know? And well, I would at least have like a discussion, like, you know, why do you think this is a good or bad idea? And then like it would be a discussion rather than me just being like, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to listen and take steps to alleviate your wife's concern.
And maybe she'll convince me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say have a discussion about it. I may immediately just be like, okay, fine, I'll move the car just to diffuse the current situation and then we'll talk about it later type of thing.
Okay. David?
I used to be the type to not care and just would do it anyway, but I've grown into the idea that if she feels uncomfortable with it, then I feel uncomfortable with it. And I'm going to move that car because that gives her comfort, right? If you leave it there and it's bothering her, it's not going to be a good time for everybody. So just move it. What's the big deal? Just move it. Who cares?
Good.
She's probably right.
Good answers. Well, I guess we'll find out here why I asked you all of those questions with our story.
I guess. Eventually.
If you want the answers, I mean,
I feel like I can predict that someone doesn't listen very well.
I don't know who's to say. This is a story about a woman who got cancer. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's not an animal attack.
No, it's not.
It's the most horrifying animal of all, the human body.
The liver.
Yeah.
The liver.
Do you guys really think I'm just going to let you sit here and enjoy your listening experience uninterrupted? No, of course not, because we have trailer trades. And I know you guys are just dying to hear of the next juicy podcast so you can get your little digs in and get some new friends, get some new podcast friends. But don't trade us in. Just add them. Listen to them too. But don't forget us, right? Right?
Are you ready to dive into the depths of intrigue and unravel the caffeinated enigmas that surround us?
Look no further than the electrifying world of caffeinated conspiracies. the podcast that's about to jolt your curiosity awake.
Join us for a caffeine-fueled adventure where every sip and every secret is a clue waiting to be deciphered.
In each episode, our dynamic hosts delve into the most thought-provoking and jaw-dropping theories that will leave you wide-eyed and pondering. From mysterious artifacts all the way to the depths of the ocean, cover-ups, conspiracies, the unknown, all with a cup of coffee.
Available on all major podcast platforms. Subscribe now and stay tuned for mind-blowing episodes that will leave you questioning everything. Remember, truth is stranger than fiction. So let's dive into the mysteries together. Join us on Caffeinated Conspiracies, satisfying your curiosity one cup at a time.
For this one, we are hopping into our little time machine. So it is your guys' first time in our time machine. I don't have a picture of our time machine to show you. Do you have our time machine, David?
I do. I have it here somewhere.
Now, mind you, there's urine in it.
Oh,
I was
no.
going to say, why is there... I heard about the urine.
Yeah.
Why is there so much vomit on the ceiling?
It's just so
That's our
nauseating.
time machine.
Like a
The
discount
smell.
on the
artist?
same time machine.
Oh, it's real. Wow, how'd you guys have that
Put a
made?
little closer, David. Let them see. Let them see.
She's very talented.
That's cool. Fuck. What the fuck?
I like
I
it.
want a time machine.
All right, well, we're getting in this stinky, sticky time machine, and we are going back to June 26, 1970. Not super far. And we're only here for a second. It's when our main character is born. He is in Free State Province in South Africa. And his name of our character is Marius Els. Have you guys heard of our guy Marius Els before?
I have not.
No.
Good. I like it that way. I like that. Marius Els has a pretty uneventful life. There's not a whole lot that we could talk about with his time growing up and as a young adult because he really didn't do much that was noted for further record.
Boring.
Okay. Let's do an episode on David.
Oh,
When he was in second grade,
he
Yes.
peed in the time machine.
he peed in the time machine. And it affected, that's why the Twin Towers
I was gonna say,
happened.
it's tied to
Oh, no.
him forever. So, like,
Yeah, 100%. Yep. But the guy Marius does not pee in the time machine. He leads a little tiny career in the army, and he enlists as a major, which I'm really not sure what like step of authority that is in the army, but good for him. And it's a pretty short
Major.
career. It's a major.
It's a major step.
Yeah, it's a major
Amazing.
step.
Yep.
It's definitely not a minor.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Yes, thank you. He's not alive anymore, but thank you. Our guy, Marius, he's leading a pretty stable life. He's doing his little army thing, and it's a pretty short and sweet story up to this point. He decides, for whatever reason, to trade in his life as an army general, or army major, and he becomes a farmer. He buys like 400 acres of this farm property that he acquires in South Africa, and he gets to work on his farm. And he's like on a part-time basis. I'm really not sure where the money was coming from. I don't know if he was still being paid by the army. There's not a lot of information about that part of his life. But at this point, we jump forward a little bit. So we're going to jump forward. He's about 34 years old now. It's about 2004, 2005 or so. Marius has a little hobby of collecting a couple wild animals that he keeps on his massive 400 acres of property. One of them is a giraffe. One of them is a rhinoceros. And they're pretty fine. I mean, they're not really doing too much damage. They're not getting any trouble or anything.
Does he have a fence to like keep them contained? I'm assuming.
Seemingly in parts, it doesn't seem like the whole thing is, but it seems like he has like little enclosures for them throughout his property.
Just
that they're-
entices them with food to like hold them in. I'm assuming.
Probably, yeah. He's like, if you leave, I'm going to put you in Matthew's basement. And they're like, fuck, we better stay here.
Yeah. Hello. I really hope this is the introduction of Netflix's new show, Rhino King.
Rhino
Ooh, it is
King.
not.
Oh, yeah. Sound the horn.
Oh. Is that a real show?
I hope so. No.
Oh,
it just,
okay.
like, it just sounds
Sounds
too
very
much
gullible.
like, yeah, it just sounds too much like Joe, what's his name? And
Joe Exotic.
Joe
So
Exotic.
exotic.
With his freaking tigers. I'm like, I just want this guy to have a giant collection of rhinos by the end of this episode.
Let's say, to be
And
fair,
kings, so
Joe did have more than just cats. He had a few other
he
things.
did have more than just. He did.
He
He
did.
did. And what a character.
With more animals than digits.
Yep.
Yeah. Looking forward to season 2.
They already had season 2.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I gotta get on Netflix.
He's in prison now, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
Well, I knew
Definitely
he
in
was in prison.
And
He was not gonna end that show without being in prison.
Oh, he like does the second season from prison.
Oh man, Maybe I did watch that.
It was a long time ago.
I
It
think
was
I did.
COVID. It was a
Re-exploring
weird time.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, it was a weird, blurry time.
Everything just blended together back then in those days. The quarantine days, the big queue.
Yep.
Yeah, it is kind of weird to think that like someday future generations will just learn about it in books and we'll be like, it was terrible. We had to stay inside and just watch Netflix. And they'll be like, no,
They're
no.
like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
fucking
hard.
terrible.
Yeah.
It couldn't work.
Goddamn kids.
I know. So Marius has his little, well, not so little. He's pretty big property. He's got his animals in there. He's having a good time. And he comes across this couple one day, and they have a pet that they rescued, a wild animal that they rescued. And they're like, this pet's just too big. We can't keep it anymore. Like, do you want to maybe buy it and like take care of it? And, you know, seeing as how you already have some kind of exotic animal and you have so much property, Marius is like, yeah, like, what's the history? What is this? What kind of critter is it?
Alligator.
I was going with hippo.
Oh,
They
hippo.
go on to explain how they found this little baby just as a little tiny baby in the Val River, which is this river that coincidentally runs right through Marius's property. And the Val River had flooded 5 times earlier, sometime in 2005, and they had saved this baby from drowning in the river.
Oh, probably not an alligator then.
Yeah. So what's your guess now? I know Celine's guessing hippo.
Well, hippo probably wouldn't drown either, but that,
Well, I mean, I'm
I suppose
assuming
it's-
people are dumb and are going to be like, oh no, don't let it go in the water. It's going to drown. You're like, they're supposed to be in the water.
That is
And
a
they're like,
very
no, but that's a super American approach
Baby
to
animals.
it.
Valid
The-
point.
the
Valid
basic
point.
the basic concept of people are dumb is very valid. Like that is.
Very much so.
I'm gonna say elephant.
Ooh, elephant. That's a good guess. Okay. David?
You said it was a big animal?
Well,
I just said it was a baby animal.
And based on the history of this podcast, I'm assuming it has a potential to become very dangerous.
I'm going to say
It's Justin Bieber.
chimpanzee. I don't know.
Okay, a chimpanzee. That's a good guess. Okay.
yeah.
So
Who knows?
Celine hit it on the nose. They
Shut
come
up!
out with a 5-month-old baby hippopotamus that they had rescued from
Wow.
drowning.
Babies, they're like this big. They're like the
They're
size of a
teeny.
small dog. Or like a
Yeah.
medium
They've
size
had
dog.
it for probably 4 months, so it was rescued pretty tiny. It was pretty
Little
teeny.
baby.
Little
And I've heard
things.
they,
So they
yeah, and I've
saved
heard
it.
when they're babies, they can be very affectionate and stuff. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Super sweet, very cuddly. And so the couple, give this baby hippo over to Marius. They're like, okay, have fun. Like, good luck raising your hippo. And Marius is just elated. He's like so excited. He immediately gets to work on building a bond, and he makes an enclosure, and he adds builds a huge lake for this hippo so he can give him as close to his natural
Aw.
growing experience as possible. So he does try to do right by Marius. So question for you guys. If you have a pet hippo, what are you naming it? You get like 30 seconds to pick a name. What are you naming this hippo?
Hippopotamus.
Alfred.
Yeah.
He just needs like
Jeff.
I feel like he just needs an old man name for whatever reason. Alfred.
That's a pretty good
Alfred.
one.
That is a cute hippo name. Okay.
I stole mine from Flight of the Conchords, so I feel like I should name him something else. I'm going to go with Jumbo.
Jumbo's cute.
Kind of like Dumbo, but he's not an elephant. And he's going to be large.
David.
Are you sticking with Jeff?
I'll switch it. Marcellus Wallace.
Nice.
Ooh.
Marcellus Wallace. That's a nice hippo name.
That's a great
Excellent.
Go get a
hippo
hippo just so you
name.
can name him that. I know.
A little band-aid in the back of its head.
I was just going to say, and it's an M and a W, so you could get him like a sweet symbol that's like,
An M and W.
Boom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Put some shades on him.
I'd be really tempted to name it something really cute that sounds really harmless, like Squirtle or something.
Aw.
That'd probably be what I would do.
Squirtle.
So people are like, oh my god, he's a Squirtle. And then he's like, chomp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You gonna die.
Don't fuck with my Squirtle, bitch. So we unfortunately did not pick any of the names that Marius had picked for his beloved little hippo.
Darn.
He adorns this sweet little baby with the name Humphrey. Humphrey the hippo.
Oh,
Well, okay,
So
Celine, you were the closest.
I was the
That-
closest. My old
Oh,
man
cute.
name.
Okay.
You were definitely the closest.
You were.
Humphrey.
So
That's
as
a great
he
name for a
goes
camel. I do have to admit, if I was in the business or the, I don't know if you'd call it a hobby of collecting
The hippo
exotic
hobby.
animals, I would save Humphrey for a camel.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would
Yeah,
then
yeah,
name
you're not wrong.
the hippo, but yeah, I mean, come on, bro. Humphrey, you gotta get a camel.
through-
Isn't there a song
Yep.
with that?
With a camel?
Yeah.
Probably. I went through the desert on a camel with no name.
Just kidding. His name was Humphrey.
Yeah, and that's the end of the song. Ah, fuck you guys.
All right. Well, back to Marius. I don't know how to segue from that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why that would ruin the conversation.
So Humphrey is doing what hippos do best. He is growing, and he's growing quickly. And Marius is spending loads of time with him. He's feeding him, petting him. He gets in the water and swims with him. He rides him around. He even brushes his teeth. So he opens his big hippo jaws and is like, scrub-a-dub-dub. So Marius does have a wife, however. Her name is Louise, and she's working as a pharmacist at this point. And she's super happy to see that Marius is really invested and happy and doting on this creature. But she's also like, it's a hippo. So, like, you know, her comfort is starting to wane the more the Humphrey grows, understandably.
Yeah.
And she doesn't feel particularly comfortable with Humphrey, especially since he begins to outgrow the enclosure that Marius built him. And Marius is like, fuck, I have all the space. I'm going to have to give you bigger, more space. In the first few years, Humphrey's life on the 400-acre farm goes pretty well. Him and Marius grew very close, and despite Humphrey continuing to grow in size, he still felt comfortable swimming and playing with him, and even began to refer to him as his son.
In a way that is very sweet.
It is very sweet.
Yeah. All right. Well, like,
it's like it's still a hippo.
Well, when I would thinking back on when I had my dog, like I don't think I ever called her my daughter though. Like
my daughter.
I would definitely sometimes like say that I feel like she's my kid, but I would never say to someone, "This is my daughter." Like that.
It's true.
Feels a little, and well, especially if you're like, "You all should come meet my son. He's out in this field. Look, he's a giant man-eating hippo." Yes.
They're like expecting a human, and it's a hippo.
Yeah, Humphrey.
So in your Instagram, if you guys have the opportunity to hop onto your group chat that we opened, I sent you a few photos of Marius and Humphrey. So these are just him day-to-day interacting, riding him in the water, playing with him, literally treating him like a little pony. And I mean, like, no offense, but Marius ain't a small dude. So, I mean, I know it's a hippo, but like...
I will say my first thought is not immediately like, I should ride the hippo.
Yeah. My first thought is definitely not that as well.
I'm sorry, I was on the wrong account. I'm still finding it. There we go.
I mean, he looks very happy.
Yeah, he does.
He's having the time of his life with Humphrey.
He does look. Oh my god, he looks so happy.
Especially that picture.
Yeah.
Looks like he's just adorable.
Like he's scratched the right spot, and he's like, "Oh yeah."
I know.
But this is 1-0. So
this one feels just a little weird.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and just his expression. It's
he's having My Little Pony reruns flashing his head. What do you mean?
Yeah. He kind of looks like an actor from season 4 of Fargo.
Aw.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
He dies, but that's okay.
Oh, lovely. Okay, well.
A lot of people die in that show.
It is Fargo.
It is Fargo, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the guy that was on Everybody Loves Raymond, plays Robert.
No,
big,
different
tall dude.
I haven't seen that season yet, but I'm excited to get to it. I've heard that he was guest starring on Fargo, and I'm like, I gotta see it. Oh, but he does kind of look like him.
That was a great season. I saw them all.
I'm excited.
Great.
Yeah, I stopped like halfway through season 3 years ago, and I didn't realize how many seasons there were, and I'm like, I need a new show to watch. So
Nice. Well, those are the photos that I sent you of Marius and Humphrey in their early ages together. Mind you, Humphrey's still like just around 6 years old, a little younger at the time that those photos are taken. So he's getting to be a pretty good sized adult hippo.
He's a big boy.
Are they still growing at that age?
I think
I don't know
more
enough
weight.
about hippos.
Yeah, I don't know that it's so much like growing height, but I think they do continue to pack on weight the more like the older that they get. Because I know big full grown hippos are quite a bit older than the one like Humphrey in that shot looks a little bit smaller than some of the hippos I've seen.
I suppose they take years to like keep building muscle.
I would imagine, because they are solid muscle. But his wife continues to make small protests about her comfort level and how he's super comfortable. And he's like, don't worry, he's fine. Your worries are unnecessary. You're stressing for no reason. Humphrey is a lovable baby boy.
Is he like sticking his head in his mouth?
I don't know if he's doing that, but he's like, he is brushing his teeth and then like rolling around with him in the water, riding him like a pony and stuff. He's definitely,
I am starting to see the relevance of the questions you asked, though.
Yeah.
It's really starting to come into play.
I know, see? So 2011 rolls around. Humphrey, like I said, at this point is now over 6 years old. He has started to develop more and more of a personality. With that personality is some concerning habits. And he's growing kind of bored of his surroundings, which, hippos in the wild, they have other hippos to socialize with. They have different parts of the river and land to navigate. Marius kind of has this little area, and then he has the river that he can play in. And that's great, but for a hippo, sometimes that's just not enough. And they start to get bored. Yeah. And so what does a bored hippopotamus do but break out of their enclosure and go find people to socialize with? So as a result of this boredom, Marius, after he would leave Humphrey kind of unattended in the property, and Humphrey would start breaking out of his enclosure and start chasing golfers at a nearby golf club.
Okay, I'm back on board. Yes, this is the greatest thing of all time. Go get him, Humphrey.
People in their golf cart, and they're like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
Well, and when you said, "What do hippos do when they get bored?" Well, they break out and socialize. I'm like, I don't know if that's how I would phrase it, but he's literally going to the golf course.
He's going to the golf course.
I'm going to the club. I'll see you later.
He sure is.
He's gonna go, hit a round of golf.
He's not there to make a hole in one. Okay, he's there to scare some people.
He's there to make a hole in multiple.
He's about to, make some people shit some stuff out of their holes.
Yeah.
He is chasing golfers around. He's got his mouth open, and he's pretty threatening. And Marius kind of laughs it off. And he's like, oh, he's just working on his social life. He's just trying to make friends. But, the golfers aren't really so humored because it's really scary watching an animal of that size chase you across a golf course with his teeth all out.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of
that's just him learning how to be social and friendly.
I was gonna, it's one thing when you and your spouse are just kind of discussing what to do with this creature. He's literally now going Godzilla style, breaking out and trampling the local community. You can't you have to rein that shit in, man.
Yeah. Well, especially now because at this point in his life, Humphrey weighs 2,645 pounds.
God damn.
Oh my God.
He is.
There needs to be another hippo.
And police are called a couple times with these concerns because people are you can't let this go on. But Marius is literally, you guys are worrying about nothing. He's like, look, watch. And the police are just standing there. And he's like, I'm going to get in the water with Humphrey. And they're like, please don't do that, sir. And he's like, no, watch. So he gets in there and he's just showing them how much of a gentle giant he is and how calm he is. And police are like, this is great and all that you can swim with him, but you don't have control over a hippo. And Marius is like, I assure you, all I have to do is simply holler Humphrey's name and he'll come running from wherever he is. So the police keep insisting. They're like, okay, but still he's a hippo and you cannot tame him. It's just not possible. But Marius doesn't want to hear any of it. And he quotes, Humphrey is like a son to me. He's just like a human. There's a relationship between me and Humphrey. And that's what some people don't understand. They think that you can have a relationship with dogs and cats and domestic animals, but I have a relationship with the most dangerous animal in Africa. And that's a direct quote from our boy, Marius Els.
I do like how he takes the time to differentiate domesticated animals.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an important word.
Very much
that does
so.
not apply to hippos.
Very much so.
Well, even then, dogs will still bite people.
Well, I was just going to say,
that still happens.
Yes. Yeah. This is a conversation that cops would have with people who let their dog run off leash. Yeah. And it's that's just a dog. This is a 2,000-pound walking truck with a mouth.
Yeah.
And Humphrey was not done with his reign of terror yet.
Of course not.
So in spring of 2011, Humphrey strikes again, and he charges a 57-year-old man who is out canoeing with his 7-year-old grandson. And they're out just canoeing calmly, minding their business, just in a part of the river that Humphrey commonly inhabits. And Humphrey chases the pair to shore and into a nearby tree where they wait for 2 hours waiting for help.
2 hours.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Please tell me the newspaper headline did say Humphrey strikes again.
It did not. That wasn't so
Darn.
Oh.
Like, because that's like a
Humphrey-
little too good.
That is too good.
Humphrey Boatgarts?
Ooh, okay.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
We'll work it out.
Paramedics are called and they're standing there trying to like figure out how the fuck do we get this grandpa and their kid out of the tree. And he's like, somebody find Marius. Like, we just got to find Marius. So Marius shows up. And of course, he's like yelling for Humphrey. But guess what? Humphrey doesn't give a shit. He's not coming when he's called, just like he thought he would. However, Marius kind of recircles, comes out with a nice shiny red apple, and it manages to tempt Humphrey away. And the paramedics are successful in removing the senior citizen and his grandchild from the tree. And South African media had a heyday reporting on this. Like, they went crazy. Everybody kind of heard about it. And this sparked a lot more interest in Marius and Humphrey's relationship. And people started coming out and doing articles and taking more video. And it became a lot more of a popular, well-known thing, especially in that area. But even still, Humphrey's shenanigans weren't over. And only a few months later, in August of 2011, Marius's neighbor contacts him. And he's like, yo, we got a deal. We got some problems over here. I got some dead calves. And they are very clearly victims to some large, powerful animal because they're all chopped up and like real nasty, you know. But they're not eaten. And without any real evidence, Marius shrugs it off. But like realistically, that is probably the work of Humphrey. He's over there munching on some calves.
I don't know what you're talking about. Couldn't possibly be a giant hippo.
No, not at all. There's something else is doing that.
Yeah, there's some other giant beast lumbering around. Was it on the golf course?
No, it was like neighboring like property that he was like had some farmlands. So Marius kind of just had the run of the place, is what it sounds like. He really wasn't confined at this point. He was doing whatever the fuck he wanted.
He's
and
like
going wherever he wants.
Unless you have photographic evidence.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't really care.
I have 400 acres. I don't think it was me.
Yeah.
That's enough land for a hippo.
Yeah.
Including a river.
So we're going to pause briefly and talk a little bit about hippos and about why they are so dangerous and so scary. So before we get into that, a brief little test for you guys. I'm about to list some species of animals. I want you to tell me which do you think kills the most out of all of these animals that I'm going to list. Lions, elephants, leopards, buffalo, rhinoceros, or hippopotamus?
Hippo.
I was going to say, I think I'm going to go with hippo.
Okay, David?
Yeah, why not?
So it is hippo, but would you be surprised if I told you that hippos kill more humans each year than all of those other species combined?
Oh my god.
That is a little surprising.
That's a bit more shocking.
Roughly 500 people a year.
Although I don't think Buffalo's really putting up a lot of numbers.
Oh, Buffalo! You'd be surprised. Buffalo trample the fuck out of people.
Oh, okay.
Buffaloes are aggressive, yeah, and people get really close to them. Mostly in like Yellowstone.
I was going to say, as we've discussed, humans are stupid.
Yeah,
so.
they sure are.
Yeah. I've seen plenty of videos of people being chased by buffalo.
I was going to say, the like selfie era has not helped.
No, it has not.
No.
But yeah, hippos claim 500 human lives every year. And most of them are like villagers and people who live in these local areas that are underreported because they're not living in some huge social media craze area. But a lot of it too are tourists who are irresponsibly brought too close to the presence of the dangers they pose. David and I know that firsthand because only a few episodes we sat down with Kristen Yalder, who survived a hippo mauling, essentially. Yeah.
That was intense.
I haven't gotten to that one yet, but I'm excited to listen to it.
Yeah, she's an incredible woman, and her survival story is insane.
It's one of those things where it's like you only know it's a good outcome because she's the one who's actually talking about it. But like the way she's describing it, it's like this must be a proxy because there's no way like she could possibly survive it.
What she overcame is impressive, and we didn't get to really talk much about hippo biology at that time. So I really wanted to circle back and do a hippo story because it just shows so much more what she was able to survive. Because these things are no joke; like these are horrifying animals. So I'm going to send you guys some more media in our group chat. I'm going to send you over just a video, and this is just a short video of a hippo grazing. And if you have the audio on, you can hear how loud it's like jaws when they're just grazing grass. You can hear it from however many hundreds of feet they probably are. But look at the musculature in the cheeks and around the jaw. It kind of zooms in on the face. So really take a look at like how these animals are built to just power their massive jaws. And I am going to post all of these for everybody who is listening. Check us out on any of our social media pages, and we will have these posted.
Ooh.
So it's chomping like that, eating grass. So that's probably the sound of the teeth sheaving together.
Oh.
And the muscles on the side of its head, and just how absolutely enormous the jaw bones and the cheeks. That is one powerful animal.
It's the equivalent sound of someone like pretty heavily chopping a big chunk of wood.
Yeah.
That is a lot of power.
That is a lot of power.
I'm going to say the bite force on them is probably
It's pretty high. Yeah.
pretty high.
Yeah. Yeah, they're up there. I don't remember, for the sake of this episode, I didn't look it up. I know that when I was doing my African wild dog episode, because hyenas and wild dogs are like the highest bite force quotient, hippos were pretty up there in like the single digits. So they are extremely capable, extremely strong. They have really scary teeth. And then I did pull just a few facts off of like a National Geographic article that talks a little bit about hippos, because I want to share why they're so terrifying.
Wonderful.
After elephants and rhinos, the hippo is the next largest land mammal. There are two distinct existing species from their family, which is like the hippo, the Nile hippo that we just saw, and then a pygmy hippo, which are much smaller. And they, despite their resemblance to pigs, they are not related to pigs. Their closest living relatives are whales, dolphins, and porpoises, which is pretty interesting to know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hippos are recognizable for their barrel-shaped torsos, wide-opening mouths with huge canine tusks, nearly hairless bodies, pillar-like legs, and large size. Adults can average over 3,300 pounds. Males males are over 3,300 pounds. Females can reach almost 3,000 pounds, which is huge.
Wow.
And despite their stocky shape and short legs, they are capable of running bursts of up to 30 kilometers an hour. That is almost 20 miles an hour.
Jesus.
That's a fast motherfucker.
Yeah,
About that size.
Definitely faster than pretty much any human.
Absolutely. Their threat does not just exist on land. That's land speed, but they're just as quick in the water. And they actually can't swim, but they're so aggressive because they will sink to the bottom and then use their huge legs to push up off the bottom of the bottom of the lake bed or the ocean bed or wherever waterway they're in. And they can actually erupt above the surface of the water. And if you ever watch videos of them chasing boats, that's what they do. They pop up and they go right back under, and they're jumping off the bottom of the waterbed every time.
Oh.
So incredibly powerful. They can hold their breath for an extremely long time, but they can't swim, which I thought was a cute thing.
I was going to say, I have to admit, I always assumed that they swam.
They don't swim. They have to walk on like the bottom of the water. They can jump, but they can't like swim and pull their little leggies in and do like a dog paddle thing.
That's almost creepier. That they're just like walking on the bottom of the water. Yeah. And they're just looking for stuff above them, and then they just pounce.
Yeah, and it's really scary the way that they do that. Hippos frequently inhabit rivers, lakes, mangrove swamps, and territorial, like they call them bulls, male hippos. They preside over a stretch of water, and then they will have a group of honeys or little girls, anywhere from 5 to 30 deep, and then whatever babies that they have. So it's one male and then all of their bitches. So it's usually the males that are coming after you. When you're seeing those videos of them chasing you, they're protecting all of those female hippos that they're with.
Wow.
So mating happens. Both occur in the water, both mating and birth. During the day, hippos remain cool by staying in the mud or the water, emerging at dusk to graze on the grass, and they rest near each other in the water typically, and grazing is usually solitary. So they'll go off and eat by themselves, but they'll come back and sleep and hang out and mate all together in kind of a same little puddle. But they are extremely fast. They are extremely aggressive. You do not want to mess with a hippo. Go listen to episode 20 if you have any doubts about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we have... Oh, yeah, I want to send one more video to you guys, too. Almost forgot.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
It's not bad, don't worry. It's not bad. This is just a video of Marius interacting with Humphrey, and it's like him running around. Now, Humphrey's a little bit younger in this. He's probably like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, based on what the other photos look like. He's definitely not as big as the hippo in the video. But just a cute little video of him playing around. Now notice the river in the background when they start going towards the water. You'll see it in a second.
Oh, they do look like they're having fun.
Little doggy running around.
Yep.
So that video was taken right near the mouth of that river where Humphrey was actually saved from. That couple that saved him as a baby from the flooded river. That's right around the same area. So it's kind of cute, come full circle like that. So now that we've seen all these adorable little videos and photos and heard all of our story, we're going to jump forward to November 12th of 2011. And we are going there just for the very, very sad day that 40-year-old Marius's body is found. And nobody knows how long he's been out there, but he's found contorted and mutilated and bitten several times. And he's laying in the mouth of the very river that Humphrey was rescued from.
Oh, that makes it so much sadder.
Yeah. So somehow when they were interacting and there was nobody around, but he went down there and Humphrey dragged Marius into the water, chomped him up real good. Didn't eat him, but really bit him pretty severely. And unfortunately, he was not able to sustain those injuries, and he did pass away. Autopsy results confirmed that the death was traumatic injury from being bitten by Humphrey that many times. So yeah, the saddest part about this is that police would literally show up at his house and he would swim with Marius to kind of prove that Humphrey wasn't a danger.
Yeah. That's exactly how he died.
Yeah, and that Humphrey would end up dragging him to that same river and would kill him. So I want to pause to ask what you guys would do. You can pick between being Marius himself or Louise, but what would you do in the situation of not adopting necessarily, but you have this full-grown 6-year-old hippopotamus that's starting to exhibit these changes of wanting to bust loose and terrorize people and chase people into trees? What are you doing that's different from what Marius and Louise did?
I'm absolutely contacting.
It's like, I'm not keeping the hippo.
I need to have, or try to contact some kind of organization that is
some sort of like
with,
wildlife sanctuary.
That's like familiar with rehabilitating and like reintroducing hippos somewhere. Because I mean, it seems pretty clear that he's incapable of and if I was his wife, I think I would try to talk to him. He's not listening, so then I would just contact them because I'm like, look, I'm sorry.
That's kind of what I would do. Be like, if you're not listening to me, I will take care of it.
I'm sorry if you feel like this is a betrayal, but this is ridiculous.
Well, and like seeing the behavior change to something that is so much more aggressive, it's only going to get worse because it's a hippo. They're so much larger than you. You can't fight a hippo.
Yeah, this is very different than the like parking the car scenario, because this is like, dude, you're losing your mind. This is delusional.
David?
Yeah, everything they said, I completely agree with.
So our too cool for school hint on this is not really about this story necessarily, but it just is a too cool fact in general, is that there is a population of hippos that currently live in Brazil because Pablo Escobar smuggled 4 of them into his private zoo, and then when he died, they all got loose and started mating. So there's a population of hippos in Brazil that don't belong there that are causing havoc on the ecosystem. And their like feces is like totally killing everything in the water and all that.
They're an invasive species.
Very invasive. So just a little interesting factoid. I think they are decimating the numbers slowly. I think there were at one point like over 100, and they're I don't know if they're necessarily relocating them or just outright killing them, but I know that they have taken efforts to get that number down because they are breeding prolifically.
I hope they're relocating them, but I would not be shocked if they were just killing them.
I hope they're relocating
I
as
hope
well.
that's not what they're doing.
They're like not having crocodiles there to be your natural predators and stuff. Like they're just unchecked.
I was going to say that at some point, like the local governments just have to be like, well, what the fuck are we supposed to do?
like there's too many hippos.
They're like, stop wishing for hippos for Christmas, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, you thought the emus in Australia were bad. These are fucking hippos. These are worth like 5 emus. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Home stretch, guys. We just got a couple minutes. I just want to take a second to thank our good friends Samantha and Tracy, who are hosts of Suspended Sentence Podcast. They are some of our best pals here in the podcast community. We've been kicking it with them since the early days. You might remember them from episode 11, the Timothy Treadwell episode. So please give a moment of your time to hear this fabulous trailer that they've put together and head on over and download an episode or two, or all of them ideally if you have the time. You're really going to like what you hear.
This is Tracy.
This is Samantha.
This is The Suspended Sentence.
Grab your latte and join us as we enter season 2, starting January 1st of 2024.
A year packed full of serial killers that you may or may not have ever heard of.
Thanks for being there.
Stay safe.
And I guess that brings us to our sources for this episode, which I did use a few. They all kind of had different parts of information that I cross-referenced. The main ones was news24.com, which is the original South African media that was reporting the story back in December of 2011. Find a Grave had some information on Marius, and then times.com, mirror.uk, theworld.org, The Guardian, and allthat'sinteresting.com all had little details and pieces of information. I heard that there's like an autopsy report floating around out there, and I tried like fuck for weeks to find it, and I could not. So if anybody has that, please send that to me. I even looked at Reddit. I was like, come on, Redditors. All people.
Yeah, they're usually pretty good.
They're usually, but not on this one.
I was kind of surprised when you were suddenly like, and that brings us to our sources. And I'm like, oh, that's the end? And then I'm like, well, he's dead. So.
He is dead, I can't go on. And then he went to heaven, and God said...
He came back to life.
And God said, you had a damn hippo. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, what did you expect? I gave you all the benefits in the world.
Yeah. Do we know what happened to Humphrey?
I don't. So I tried to look it up, and there's nothing really written on it. My assumption is he probably was put to death because he did technically kill, and usually, and he didn't really do it like in a defensive manner. It seemed pretty intentional. And nobody knows what really happened because nobody was there. But I know that they had a hell of a time approaching to get Marius's body because Humphrey was still in the river, was not enjoying all of his new company. But yeah, it's very sad. So the question of the week for this episode, for our episode 27, is going to be, if you could have any animal and domesticate it to be a pet, what would it be? I want to know what animal you'd have as a pet. And then our hint for the next episode is, sometimes standing your ground in the face of danger is what ends up saving you. So that's your hint for the next one. Are we ready, Peculiar Pairings Pod, for our joke of the day?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
You think
Don't get overexcited because there's not that many good hippo jokes. So I did the best I could given the circumstances. Most of them are offensive.
So I found a mediocre one.
I found a dad joke for sure. So for this one, a man and his pet hippopotamus walk into a bar. Then he says, ouch. No, I'm just kidding. That doesn't happen. But they do walk into a bar.
Yeah, my dad loved that when we were kids.
It is about 5 p.m., but they are ready for a good night of drinking. They start off slowly, watching TV, eating beer, eating peanuts, and as the night goes on, they move to mixed drinks and then shooters, one after the other. Finally, the bartender says, last call. So the man says, one more for me and one more for my hippopotamus. The bartender sets him up and they shoot him back, and suddenly the hippo falls over dead. The man throws some money on the bar, puts on his coat, and starts to leave. And the bartender yells, hey, buddy, you can't just leave that lion there. To which the man replies, that's not a lion, that's a hippopotamus.
When you said lion, I'm like, oh, I know where the comedy's coming from this one.
It's a good dad joke.
Pulling a lot of the weight in that
It is
joke, for
dad.
sure.
Yeah. That's a long way to go for some wordplay.
What do you want from me for hippo jokes, okay? There's only so much I can say without getting canceled.
Yeah,
Ain't that the truth?
Well, lovely Celine and Matthew, if you could share with our listeners, where can we go to find your podcast? Where can we go to follow you on social media? Any of the good stuff?
Well, we're both on Instagram, like
we are.
independently. And you can look for see, I was supposed to have my list right.
I will say we are on all major podcasting platforms, so you can find us from anything from like Spotify to Apple Podcasts to like the podcast app. We're just about everywhere.
They are on Apple Podcasts, wink, wink, and they could use some 5-star reviews.
We would love that.
Well, Well, thank you. That'd be very nice. Yeah. And if you have any suggestions or you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Gmail at Peculiar Pairings Pod, Peculiar Pairings Pod at Gmail. You can find us on Twitter, because we refuse to call it X, at Peculiar Pair Pod, or on Instagram at Peculiar Pairings Pod. You can look us up on Patreon as well.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Delightfully spoken. And just
we also have some stuff on YouTube, and that we're
Oh,
you have a YouTube channel?
We do. I'm hoping to get more of our Peculiar Pairings episodes on YouTube with some visuals at some point. I got to do a bit of a computer upgrade for that to happen.
Nice.
But we have a few episodes of another like spin-off podcast I've been doing called 50 Most, where I go to all 50 states, and right now I'm covering haunted places.
Ooh.
Oh, very cool.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty badass. Well, you heard it here first, folks. I can't even speak English like you. Go check them out. It was a pleasure to have both of you with us today. You guys are so much fun, and we laughed so hard. Those are the best in our eyes, the best episodes when we laugh like that.
We're happy
to be such a good time getting to know you guys, and it was a blast.
It's been a pleasure. Well, thank you for having us. It's been excellent.
Thank you guys so much.
Have a wonderful evening. For all of you listening, I hope you enjoyed your time with us today. And as always, until next time.
Can I say it? Can I say it?
Say it.
Yes.
Stay alive!
Stay alive.
Stay alive.